I welcome each one of you students to my English class. Today we are going to do a lesson about war. War in the olden days. War which is so different from the type we hear about today. The lesson depicting the war between the Trojans and the Greeks is the fall of Troy, and we shall begin with part 1. Before we get to the story about the war, it is important to know what an epic is. Epics are long poems, typically derived from ancient oral tradition, narrating the deeds and adventures of heroic or legendary figures or the past history of a nation. So long poems got from people who have been speaking it traditionally or telling stories about the actions and deeds or adventures of their heroes of war or of well-known figures which tell you the past history of a nation. Two such European epics written in Greek are mentioned in this lesson, one called the Odyssey and the other one called the Iliad. Both of these were written by a blind poet called Homer. He lived about 900 BC and wandered from one Greek city or village to another, singing his poems to all who would receive him in their homes and give him hospitality. Meaning those, because he was blind, those who would call him home and give him a bed to sleep in the night or food to eat. So he would reward them by singing his poems and telling the story in that manner. This wandering or roaming singer has been honored not only in Greece but all over Europe as the father of European poetry. Now, similarly, we have our very own renowned Indian epics written in Sanskrit called the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Let's begin by introducing the main characters of this story. The main characters from Greece were King Menelaus and his beautiful wife Helen, and the brave Greek warrior Achilles. From Troy, we have King Priam, his eldest son Hector, who was also a courageous warrior, and his son Prince Paris. The Iliad is the story of Ilium or Troy, a rich trading city in Asia Minor near the narrow sea that leads from the Aegean to the Black Sea. It was well situated both for trade and for agriculture. In front of the city was the sea over which sailed the ships of Troy carrying goods and grain. At the back of the city there was Mount Ida, a very high mountain peak from which flowed many rivers and streams. So therefore the valleys were well watered, fertile, corn growing in the fields, cattle feeding on the grass, and sheep feeding on the slope of the hills. Now, in the picture below, you can see there that the Trojans had built a very big wall to protect themselves all around their city, to protect themselves from people who would attack them from the sea. The wall was so broad that people could sit, stand and walk on it. Now, the gates of the city always remained open, but during wartime, the gates would be closed and the city was like a strong fortress, safe from all attack and safe behind too because of the hills. Thus Troy was a strong city, strongly protected by its walls, the hill behind, and its brave soldiers. Now, how did the location of Troy help it to grow into a rich, prosperous city? It had a narrow belt of sea, a patch of sea leading to the Aegean and the Black Sea. So that means they could move by their ships all around and do trading, buying and selling very openly and freely. Also, they had Mount Ida having a lot of streams and rivers, so they had lots of agriculture going on. For both these reasons, Troy grew into a very rich and prosperous city. How were the Trojans protected during wartime? They were protected by that strong wall that was all around. Okay, and the city became a fortress when there was war. The gates were closed and they had brave soldiers defending their city. Let us have these two words here. Commerce is the old word they use for trade, and trade means buying and selling and exchange of goods. And meadow is a field of grass. Now let us see what caused this war. Okay, as you can see here, the king of Sparta in Greece, that is Menelaus, and his wife Helen. And here we see Paris from Troy. Now Paris went to Sparta. He persuaded Helen to run away with him. He fell in love with her, she fell in love with him, and then they ran away to Troy. Okay, this definitely angered all the kings and the heroes of Greece, and they declared war against the Trojans. Okay, they wanted to take revenge on Troy for the wrong that Paris had done to King Menelaus. So they sailed to Troy and they laid siege to the city. These Trojans also fought hard, but the siege continued for 10 years. Now let us see some of the meanings from the passage here. Siege meaning when an army surrounds a town or city for a long time so that no one can go in or come out. Then fortress is a castle or palace or strong building which is not easy to attack. Persuaded meaning advised or convinced someone to do something, like how Paris persuaded Helen to elope or to run away secretly with him and get married. Okay. A textual question. What was the cause of the 10-year-old war between the Greeks and Trojans? Already told you. Paris and Helen, the wife of Menelaus, they eloped, ran away, got married. The Greeks were angry, and that caused the 10-year war between the Greeks and the Trojans. Okay. A special mention is made of Achilles in this lesson, as he was a brave Greek warrior who covered himself in armor. Okay, armor is this metal plates that they use to prevent the arrows and the swords from attacking, from destroying them. He was brave and destroyed anything and anyone who came in his way during war. He even killed the brave Trojan prince Hector. But alas, by accident or fate, while the war between the Greeks and Trojans was going on, he got a poisoned arrow on his heel. The heel is the part behind your foot. A little part of it was open there, and by luck he got hit there only by a poisoned arrow, and he died. Now a phrase has been coined from Achilles in the English language. Achilles heel meaning a weakness or a vulnerable point. Okay, so when we have a weakness, we say that is our Achilles heel. Okay, we can use it in a sentence like this, like saying that though he was a good person, his temper was his Achilles heel, or his temper was his weakness. Okay, now the war went on. Still later, Paris himself was killed, also by a poisoned arrow. The Trojans were tired of being shut up in their city. We are shut up in our houses from March due to the coronavirus, and we don't like it. We don't like our freedom being controlled and curtailed so much. And imagine the fighting went on for 10 years, where the Trojans were in their city, locked up behind the walls and gates, and the Greeks who wanted so much to go home to their families. Okay, but the revenge still went on, and the fighting still went on. You have been asked to find the story of why Helen was persuaded by the goddess Aphrodite to elope with Paris. Okay, now let us see. This is Aphrodite. She is a goddess. See how beautiful she is. Let us see how she comes into the story. Okay. Now, who was she? Aphrodite was the Olympian goddess of love, beauty and pleasure. You know that in the Ramayana and Mahabharata we also have god and goddesses. So she was one such goddess who was the goddess of love and beauty and pleasure. Now Aphrodite promised Paris, the prince of Troy, to the most beautiful woman in the world, and that woman happened to be Helen, the wife of King Menelaus of Sparta. So Aphrodite, because she was a goddess, she made Helen fall in love with Paris, and the couple ran off or eloped together. So she plays a very important part in the fall of Troy, in the war between the Greek and the Trojans, because if she had not used her godly powers and made Helen fall in love with Paris, there would be no revenge taken and no war. Okay. So we will now begin with the English workshop. Question number 1. Read the passage and name the following. He composed the Iliad and the Odyssey. Homer, the poet. He persuaded Helen to elope with him, Paris. She was the wife of King Menelaus, Helen. He led the defense of Troy for 9 years, Hector, the eldest son of King Priam of Troy. For 9 years, he led the army against the Greeks. He was poisoned by an arrow that entered his heel, Achilles. Now find the antonyms of the following from the passage. Barren, fertile. Barren means when the land cannot give you anything, any fruit properly, any crops properly, and fertile soil is when we get a lot of crops and plants. Offended, to make someone annoyed, and pleased is to make someone happy. Cowardly is brave, peace is war, surrender is to give up, and resist is not to give up. Exposed, to be exposed to everything when the gates are open, and we protect ourselves by closing gates. And defenseless means when you don't have anything to defend yourself, like no gun or no bow and arrow. And when the army defends itself, we call them defended. Okay. Third question. From other sources find synonyms. Synonyms meaning meanings of the following words used in the story, and they give you the word, but the word referring not to a great mountain but to a great hero. Now I've got some words for you. If you find other words, you're free to write those answers. Okay. Great hero meaning brave person. Beautiful woman meaning pretty woman. Fight, verb form, that is to defend. A rich city is prosperous. Safe meaning well protected. A strong city means well guarded. And brave means strong, courageous or whatever. Now the next one is correct the following sentences using facts from the passage. Okay, so all these sentences are wrong sentences. You have to find out what is wrong within the sentence and correct it. So Troy traded in cattle and grass with other cities. You know very well Troy didn't trade in cattle and grass. They traded with goods and grain. So this is how you have to do this. Complete the entire exercise up to H using this sentence as an example. We'll just take the last one. Achilles was killed by an arrow that pierced his heart. You know that is wrong. The arrow that pierced his heel. So complete the rest of the sentences using facts from the passage. Okay. Now we go to the next one, which has counteraction. Now every action has a counteraction. Like if you wake up late in the morning, you may miss school. Okay, so the action is that you woke up late. Missing school is the counteraction. Okay, so here you know all these answers. Helen eloped with Paris. Therefore, what was the counteraction? The king and heroes of Greece declared war against the Trojans. The Greeks sailed to Troy and attacked it. What happened then? The Trojans also fought hard and the siege went on for 10 years. The third action was that Hector was killed by Achilles, and later Achilles himself was killed by a poison arrow which entered his heel, because they were fighting in opposite uh, uh, armies. The siege continued for 10 long years. Now the counteraction was that they were fed up, but the fighting still went on. Now this is what I want you to find out from either of our two Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Find out which battle or war lasted the longest within them. You can ask your parents, or you can Google it, or if you have the Ramayana, you can read it. Okay, write down about its cause, like how we had the cause of Troy was Prince Paris eloping with Helen. Okay, so find out the cause of the long battle. Find out who were the enemy armies, like how we found out the Greeks and the Trojans. Find out who were the main heroes of that battle. How long was the battle? The Trojan War was for 10 years. And what was the final outcome? Which side won? Okay. Now, the next is a dual question, where they first tell you complete the following sentences with reference to the passage. Okay. So you have to look. Each of these are there in your textbook. So you look at it, find the words that complete the sentence, and then underline the clauses in the above sentences and also the words that link or connect the clauses. Now clauses, I'll revise with you. Okay, so we have clauses like we have a main clause and we have a subordinate clause. Yeah, the main clause makes complete sense, and the subordinate clause depends upon the main clause for making complete sense, and they are joined by a joining word, a linking word, or a connector, which is called a subordinating conjunction or a subordinator. Okay, so what we are supposed to do here, epics are long poems that I've completed it for you here, relate the deeds of a great national hero or a great national war. Now, epics are long poems. That is one clause. The main clause makes full sense. And the other clause, that relate the deeds of a great national hero or a great national war. Now, that relate the deeds of the great national hero or great national war is your subordinate clause. And your linking, joining or connecting word is your subordinator or subordinating conjunction that. Okay. So, epics are long poems. What kind of poems? Poems that relate the deeds of great national hero of a great national war. So, you know that this is a subordinate clause. Now, next one. They may be composed and sung or recited for many years. Full meaning, main clause. Before they are actually written down, does not make full sense unless we write it with the main clause. And so with the main clause, we use the subordinating conjunction before and complete the sentence. So one clause and the second clause. And in the same way, you have who, that, who, from which as the other subordinators. Use this as reference. But children, please understand and complete this exercise complete your exercise. Okay, now that brings us to the end of part 1 of Fall of Troy. I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to coming back with the next part, that is the Fall of Troy part